My lips feel very disgusting now.
Hello and welcome to My Tiny Bottles, the project where I'm exploring my grandmother's legacy of miniature liquor bottles, one tiny bottle at a time. I'm here with my guest today, Aaron Goldfarb. And Aaron, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Aaron Goldfarb. I've been told I'm a prolific author. I've written 12 books, most of them on booze or booze culture. My newest book is Dusty Booze in Search of Vintage Spirits. And I understand we have some vintage spirits today.
We do have some vintage spirits today. I thought you would be a perfect person to taste these with. So your book was really valuable in kind of thinking about dusty spirits and which ones I should be keeping my eye on in Grandma's collection. And you had a whole section on minis, and that was cool because that's the piece of it that I know, right? Or the mini collectors. And they're not interested in drinking like most of the people. Well, I guess you're in Dusty Booze, it's a mix, right? The people who just want to collect and the people who want to drink.
Yeah, well, one mini collector told me, if you have a big bar of full-size bottles in your house, it just looks like you're an alcoholic. If you have minis lined up neatly, it looks like you have a nice little collection.
So true. All right. So when I reached out to you, I gave you the list of things and I was like, what do you want to taste? And you, from the whole list, chose DeKuyper Apple Barrel Schnapps. This is I really appreciate this choice. So
yes.
Why?
Well, you needed to get rid of it, right? DeKuyper is one of the most interesting stories for me in booze history. In the mid 80s, their Peach Schnapps has become improbably the 9th best-selling alcohol in all of America. It's in the Sex on the Beach. It's in the Fuzzy Navel. Tom Cruise is standing on bars, pouring it into people's face. And the world is ignoring other spirits. So Jim Beam goes, we need to acquire DeKuyper. This is the greatest brand of all time. It's going to be the greatest brand for the next 50 years. And National Distillers, who owned DeKuyper's, was glad to sell it to them for $580 million. And along with it, you guys can have Old Overholt, Old Granddad, Old Taylor, and Old Crow, because no one's going to ever drink bourbon and rye again. So just take that junk with you. And now Jim Beam has one of the greatest portfolios of old brands, and they still own DeKuyper's, to my knowledge.
Amazing. Here, just take this bourbon off our hands. Right. And I've talked about that in different episodes. Maker's Mark. I talked about that. It's created at this time when nobody's drinking bourbon, and they're really trying to figure out how do you get people back into that market.
Right.
If they only knew. All right. Well, we are at Amori Margot. Thanks again to Souther Teague for hosting us. Souther got to taste the friend, neighbor, relative of this one, which was DeKuyper Bluesberry Schnapps.
Oh.
But yours is going to be this apple barrel one. So this looks half empty. That's just evaporation.
63 cents.
63 cents.
Wow, that's better than the Jim Beam deal.
Only the best for you.
Yeah.
So you must have encountered this when people talk about dusty bottles, that even if you haven't opened them, sometimes they're...
yeah, well, they have plastic enclosures.
Yeah.
It evaporates the ooh, that is syrupy.
I did not expect that color.
Make a apple on the beach, or a fuzzy apple.
This is super, super dark brown, clearly oxidized. I don't think if you were marketing something as an apple product, I don't think you would have done it that color in the
Eggo
80s.
waffles.
Mostly smells like sugar.
It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
You already dive into tasting.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm just going straight in here. I don't smell much in the way of apple at all. It smells like caramel.
I think the being oxidized actually gives it some complexity that makes it a little more interesting than I expected.
All right. Let me see.
It's very cloying.
But also kind of has some acidity to it.
Yeah, I don't think it's awful. It's
actually not awful.
My lips feel very disgusting now. It's like just a film of syrup on them. What is the ABV of this?
Well, now probably 0, because that's what's going to be what's evaporated, right? I would say close to 0 now. We have some very nice.
Grandma should have drank this one.
All right, do you want some water?
I
found that when we extended, you have your own water glass. When we extended it out with a little water, we got more blueberry flavor. So maybe we'll get more apple flavor if we do this. They claim that I get more no's. Certainly get more smell of apple.
Yeah, it tastes like apple from a juice box, and I know that taste because my kids drink 10% of the juice box and leave the rest.
Definitely more appley now.
Yeah. I don't think Jim Beam was paying $580 million for that.
No, I don't think so. But this really was created in the wake of that peach schnapps craziness,
Yes,
right? And they
every
just came up
flavor,
with
yeah.
all these different flavors.
Yes. Yeah. And they're still going.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this was better before the water because it just tasted like a really sweet sugar syrup.
Well, the caramel,
Now-
it's evaporated down to just the caramel
Just the
coloring.
caramel coloring.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I kind of wish I could offer you something better as a second
Well, I
bottle.
think this is actually going to be better because I need to clean out my mouth of that taste.
That is a good point. So when I said, well, what else from this list might interest you? You said something along the lines of, well, everybody says old mint liqueurs are bad, so I'd like to try one, please.
Yes.
Are you a masochist, glutton for punishment?
I know what old whiskey tastes like, although if I'd seen the Suntory on your list, I would have picked that. I don't know what old mint tastes like, so to a certain extent, I'm more interested in seeing what something tastes like that I don't know what it tastes like than just tasting something good.
That's fair. Yeah, I have some bottles that are like that as well.
This would be like vintage scope.
Let's hope not. So this is one of my favorite bottles from the series so far, and not because it's a mint liqueur from Colombia, but because it just had this great story attached to it.
Yeah.
You know, I try to find a story for each bottle, and sometimes it has to do with the brand, and sometimes it's just whatever related topic I can come up with. And this one was created by a family who started in coffee liqueur, expanded to have this liquor company in Colombia, tried to expand it to Ecuador, and the patriarch of the family got caught up in this international diplomatic scandal. So he was the ambassador to Ecuador for a while, and then he got ousted from his job under a scandal. And to top it all off, his daughter, unrecognized daughter, has a deathbed paternity case to prove that this man is her father, and writes it all up on this fantastic blog. And so it was like a soap opera inspired by this little bottle of Convier Menta.
I think Netflix should option that.
It's pretty amazing. The icon for the blog that she created is a raised middle finger. Like, she is mad at her dad.
Who isn't?
Who isn't? So what do people say about old mint liqueurs?
You know, pretty much every category of vintage spirits are collected. Maybe not the schnapps so much, although there are people that are curious in 1980s peach schnapps. But person after person told me there is absolutely no market for vintage mint liqueurs. Although one person did tell me I actually think they're quite good. So
Okay.
we'll see how it is.
Well, this is from the 1990s is my best guess.
Okay.
Because I did get in Grandma's collection a bottle of their coffee liqueur, and that one had a government warning label. So
I think mintiness was big in the 90s. Cirques and stuff.
Right, in the 70s. I mean, the brand's been making this since
Okay.
at least the 70s. Much higher fill level.
Beautiful color.
Beautiful
I
color.
think that's natural.
Natural. Totally natural. Uh-oh.
It's a cool little bottle too.
Uh-oh. Aaron,
I
I'm
need a strong man.
going to have
Not
you
gonna be
give
me.
this a try. This is
It's just not
often
catching.
the most fun part of these is trying to get the bottles off, the lids off. All right. Souther saved the day. Thank you, Souther. All right. Here we go.
Ooh. Ooh.
It's pretty thick, even though it's not evaporated, so we have to think it
Does
started that
have
way.
Strong Listerine notes.
Hold on, I'm not getting nearly as much mint as I expected. This actually was true when I tasted the Mr. Boston Peppermint Schnapps with Red Yarm. Like, I expected this mint bomb on the nose. It wasn't. Oh, now it's coming up.
Medicinal notes.
I needed to aerate it. That's
I don't hate it.
okay.
Yeah.
Definitely a little toothpastey. Kind of like got a wintergreen thing going on rather than just straight peppermint.
I'm getting some chocolate too. I like mint
Is
chocolate
that just
chip.
association? No, it does. It tastes like mint chocolate chip ice cream.
Yeah, which I love.
Hey.
I kind of like it. I don't need more than a splash.
Oh,
I
are
like
you
it.
sure? All right. Well, that was a pleasant surprise. Definitely better than the apple barrel.
I'm telling you. If I say something, the market will start booming.
That's right. That's right. Everybody's going to be going after the. Oh, you are having a little more.
I'll try a little more.
All right. Well, I later will mix up a stinger with this because
Yes.
because I told in my post about it, I was like, Pascal, that's the daughter's name. Like she is mad, so I'm gonna make a stinger in her honor. Because
Have you communicated with her?
no, I haven't. I don't know what she'd think. I should. All right. Well, Aaron, thank you so much for inflicting this pain on yourself.
No, it's great.
Anything else you want to say or tell people where you can find you?
I need another vintage spirit to wash out my mouth of these apples and mints. Yeah, you can just find me on the internet, Aaron Goldfarb. Books everywhere.
Pick up Dusty Booze if you, like me, are interested in Dusty Bottles. It was a great read.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You can find me at mytinybottles.com or at mytinybottles on social media. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, do all the things you know how to do.
Is that being recorded?
The thing that amazes me is the people who still keep it on during the games, It's like, why? Okay.